Anna Antonio was born, Anna Capello, and was an Italian immigrant. Nicknamed Little Anna, she later went on to hatch a plan to have her husband killed. At the age of 16, Anna met a man by the name of Salvatore Antonio. The two became smitten, and she overlooked the fact that he was 30 years old. Salvatore, or Sal as he was called, had a job working at the railroad. He was a union worker. He worked on the railroad by day, but by night he worked in a rather different setting. Sal sold guns illegally and dealt heroin. Anna had no idea what she was getting herself into. She was a young teenager with hopes and dreams. Despite how short she had known Sal, Anna introduced him to her parents, whom later agreed to allow them to wed. Unfortunately, the man Anna thought she knew was a monster, a controlling, abusive monster at that. Sal had a lot of rules in their marriage, and he was determined that she follow every single one. Her punishments were severe if she did not follow the rules. Sal would beat Anna at even the slightest slip-up. Now that she realized she had made a dreadful mistake, Anna Antonio was stuck in an abusive marriage. New York state law only allowed divorce under one condition: adultery. Adultery had to be proved with a significant amount of evidence, or the divorce would not be approved. There was no adultery occurring in Sal and Anna's marriage. However, there was violence. This law stayed in effect until 1965, decades after they were married. This meant that if a husband beat his wife viciously, she had to stay in the marriage and endure suffering. This is what Anna was subject to. Anna went on to have children with her abuser. Anna and Sal had 3 children, 1 boy and 2 daughters. After 12 years of marriage, Anna had had enough. She was backed into a corner. The law in New York was not on her side, and thus made divorce unattainable. She decided to take the law into her own hands. As a union worker, Sal had life insurance valued at a little over $5,000. Anna saw this as an opportunity for murder. She would hire henchmen to kill her husband and pay them part of the life insurance money as payment for the crime. Both men were friends of her husband, so there was nothing out of the ordinary when they asked Sal to go on a drive with them to Hudson, New York. After stopping in Hudson, the 3 drove back to Albany, but stopped in Castleton and pulled the car off the road. They claimed they had to use the bathroom by the woods, and Sal decided to take this time to go to the bathroom as well. While walking back, one of the men pulled a gun and proceeded to shoot Sal multiple times. The other man pulled a hunting knife and began stabbing Sal as he lay in the field in his blood. Sal pleaded for his life, asking, "What did I ever do to you?" He was stabbed 15 times. Later that night, 2 college students driving through Castleton saw Sal on the side of the road. He was still breathing. He was rushed to the hospital, but died before arrival. The 2 henchmen returned to Albany and awaited to be compensated $800 each for their work. Anna had diabolically planned out her husband's murder. When the community heard of the violent murder, they assumed it was related to Sal's ties in crimes, and that he was probably killed by gangsters. Indeed, he was killed by gangsters, but at the request of his little Anna. Anna, a mousy brown, petite, innocent-looking woman, had organized her husband's end. Word broke out that the night of Sal's murder he went out to dinner with 2 men. The 2 men were taken into custody, and after days of questioning they threw Anna under the bus. According to their own statements, Faraci and another friend, Vincent Sita, shot and stabbed Sal on a highway outside of Albany on March 27, 1932, leaving his corpse on the side of the road. Sal had 15 stab wounds and 5 bullet holes in his body when he was found. It didn't take long for cops to pinpoint Faraci and Sita. They told police that they killed Sal at the bequest of Anna, who promised to pay them $800 of the insurance money. All three suspects were arrested on May 5, 1932 and charged with murder. After a 26-day trial, held in Albany County Court during the spring of 1933, Anna Antonio, Sita and Faraci were found guilty of murder in the first degree. On April 15, 1933, all three defendants were sentenced to die for Sal's murder. Less than a week later, they were on death row in Sing Sing, awaiting their punishment. And it is there where Anna suffered through a terrible gauntlet of fear, elation and ultimate defeat. For the next 16 months, she was dragged through a series of reprieves and scheduled executions that crushed her spirit and nearly drove her insane. The Albany court set a date of execution for May 29, 1933. When Anna arrived at Sing Sing, there were no other females on death row, and 3 local women had to be rehired to perform their duties as matrons. They were paid $100 per month for their work. Although they were essentially guards, all 3 women became friends with Anna, and on the day she was executed, they stood in front of her to avoid anyone taking photographs of Anna sitting in the chair. The Snyder incident in 1928, in which a reporter snapped a death photo with a hidden camera, was still on everyone's mind. As her attorney, Daniel Pryor of Albany, filed appeal after appeal, the execution date for Sal's killers was postponed, eventually being set on June 28, 1934. As the date approached, Anna began to fall apart. Faraci, however, acted as if nothing bothered him. "I gave the state what information I could when we were first arrested," he said. Sita was even more resigned to his fate. "I don't expect anything," he said. "I'm willing to pay the price." On June 20th, Pryor attended a face-to-face meeting with Governor Lehman that lasted 2 hours. Anna's 3 children, Phyllis, 9, Marie, 7, and Frankie, 3, along with Anna's brother, Pasquale Capello of Schenectady, accompanied him to the governor's mansion. While the children played on the carpet behind him, Pryor pled for their mother's life. The next day, Pryor was informed that the governor denied the request. The execution was on. At Sing Sing, when Anna was informed of the governor's decision, she told the matrons that she wanted her brother to bring up the kids. "I'm not thinking of myself so much," she said. "I'm thinking what it will mean to the future of my children." She signed a will leaving whatever she had in this world to her kids. Anna told the matrons she was ill, heartbroken, yet hoping something will save me. On August 9, 1934, later that same day, August 9th, the matrons returned to shave her head once again. "It looks as if they've all turned me down. God alone can help me," she told the matrons. She suddenly fell into a semi-coma, unable to stand or sit. She looked thin and haggard, losing a great deal of weight during that last month. Anna weighed just 85 pounds when she was asked what she wished for her last meal. She weakly replied, "I want nothing." Sita and Faraci both ate large meals and smoked cigars at about 7 p.m. At 11 p.m., the guards came for Anna. Her time had run out. Although there was a fear she would have to be carried to the chair, Anna walked and assisted. The executioner was Robert G. Elliott. She sat in the chair calmly and repeated the Catholic prayer with Father McCaffrey. Wearing a tight blue dress with bits of white trimming on the front and across the front. She had made the dress herself. She wore one dark stocking on her left leg as she was required to keep her right leg bare for the electrode. She sat in the chair calmly at 11:12 p.m. and repeated the Catholic prayer. Since she was so small, and her dress so tight, They had to slide the side of her dress all the way up so they could spread her legs to fit into the ankle stalks of the electric chair. The matrons strapped her into the chair and then took their places in between her and the viewing audience. Anna's head hung down, her chin touched the top of her chest. The frail and frightened woman looked like a little girl in the high-back chair, which was designed for adult men. There was absolute quiet in the chamber as the deadly current was switched on. Within a few moments, as the electricity sputtered and crackled, Anna, whatever her crimes, was dead. The prison physician, Dr. Charles C. Sweet, then pronounced the victim at 11:16 p.m. "I hereby pronounce this person dead," he intoned. Before the words were out of his mouth, prison guards escorted Faraci into the death chamber. He passed by Anna as attendants carried her body through the door. Faraci was smiling as they strapped him to the chair, still smoking from its previous work. "I want to thank you, gentlemen," he said. "I go to die, but I am innocent. That is all I can say. I wish you good luck, all of you." As he finished his words, Elliot received the signal from Warden Laws, and 2,000 volts jolted his body at the speed of light. After 2 minutes, Dr. Sweet again rose from his front row seat and approached Faraci's lifeless form. He applied his stethoscope to the man's chest and listened for a few seconds. "I declare this man dead," he announced. In the second row of the witnesses, there was a loud noise. One of the spectators had collapsed in the row of seats. But it was not over yet. At 11:27 p.m., Sita was brought into the chamber. He was grinning, but the witnesses saw his teeth tightly clenched and his hands rigid. Sita remained silent as the guards hastily applied the straps across his chest and legs. "Hello, guard," he said. Sita smiled bravely, and within moments, the current again did its deadly work. He was pronounced dead at 11:31 p.m. All 3 bodies were removed and stored until the following day. On August 10, 1934, Anna Antonio, Vincent Sita and Sam Faraci were claimed by family members and funeral arrangements were made.